Is this recording? Yes, it is. Okay. Welcome to Happy Fun Music Time. I'm here with the co-host, Alex Alice. And... Sorry. Episode. We winded ourselves up.
Want, but...
Oh, no, this is all going in the episode.
Okay.
So...
Yeah, I had to play some of that.
What was that? What was that?
Oh, what was that? It was Diss Song Chris.
Oh, I don't know if I've heard of that band ever, but...
No, here's a little more. Wait,
all right.
Yeah, you said I was dumb! I hate you!
Should open up the episode with that.
Yeah, that should be the theme song for every episode. I was dumb! Classic. Anyway, yeah, okay, we're here, Infectious Organisms. Oh, God.
I'm crying. Alright. So this episode... Thunders!
All right. Anyway, yeah, I've never heard the band. Like, I have this file, and there's just no band name for it or anything. I don't know where I got it.
Oh, that's weird.
But yeah, I just started opening the files like right before this podcast, and what a great album!
Yeah, absolutely incredible. So today we are here to talk about the album "Human Experience" by Infectious Organisms. So this is our second Diamonds in the Rough episode, if you want to call it that. Yeah, these guys are from Philadelphia. I don't know, they sort of have like the Roots-esque lineup. So there's a couple MCs, then you got guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, and the works. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything to say about this band? What do you have to say for yourself?
Yeah, well, they're not as good as the band that was just played, but Infectious Organism. So up until like an hour ago, I knew nothing about them. I Googled them by chance, and I sent you a link to this. I'll read a little bit of it. It consists of, it is two MCs, a bassist, a drummer, guitarist, keyboard player, and then there's some other, I think, session musicians on this one album, which is Human Experience. That's their second album. And this came out in '02, I think. '02.
Yeah.
And the band just like vanished after that, hence its inclusion in Diamonds in the Rough. We never heard about them after. I never knew what happened to them until I found this article from 2010 that says after the release of Human Experience, the band found critical acclaim. They went on to share the stage with revered artists including Medeski, Martin and Wood, The Roots, Black Star, and Outkast, among others. Unfortunately, internal struggles led to a breakup of just a few years later, and some of the members have gone on to form this very mediocre indie pop band called East 100, who we both listened to like 10 seconds of one of their songs, and I fell asleep, so I can't speak more to them. Yeah, but anyway, Infectious Organism, this is an amazing album. And how did you first hear about this album? Because you told me about this, so...
well, that would
take
be...
it away.
Shout-outs, Matt Lou, Mr. Lou. Good old fella I went to school with, we used to play with in a band, and he came across this album somehow, because... He knew like all of the rap albums. I don't know. And then I was really drawn to this album because I wasn't super into rap at that point, but there was sort of an artist here and there I was picky I would like. And I don't know, the whole band being with the MCs, that was a draw for me. And I think it was that instrumental Comfort in the Swell. That was the first song I got really into. And then with that, I was sort of hooked on the rest of the album. Yeah, that was like maybe 10 years ago, 13 years ago, I want to say. I don't even know.
Wow.
Yeah. But great album. Sort of the instrumentals have this really ethereal vibe. I butchered the pronunciation of that. They're super cool. And it's funny because there's very little about this album online. Especially at that time, I feel like a bit more stuff has surfaced. Like, 'cause it has a listing on Rate Your Music and like Sputnik and stuff, which I think I added at one point.
I was gonna say you added this to Sputnik.
Yeah. And I don't know, like on YouTube, there's just the album that only because it recently got uploaded to Spotify and like 2 live performances, and then like some older EP stuff came up, but even that was like 2013 or something.
Yeah.
So very, very obscure stuff, and it's shocking it didn't have a bigger following because of how good it is.
Yeah, you can't even find the lyrics online, which I was trying to do before we started recording, and they're nowhere. And this is, I mean, it's a hip hop album, so the lyrics play a pretty big part. I was hoping to read them through, but I couldn't do that, so I had to try and jot down what I could. That just speaks to how much of a diamond in the rough this is. This is a really good album. Like, It's shockingly good. And apparently, like in this piece I just read, apparently it got recognition and critical acclaim. I don't know where either of those things disappeared to.
That's the first article I've like seen someone else talking about it.
Yeah, I've never seen anything else about this. It has very few ratings online, let alone acclaim. So, yeah, I mean, this is a great candidate for this series because this truly is in the rough. I mean, you know, when songlyrics.com doesn't even know you exist, you're pretty obscure at that point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now I'm just pulling up because I was gonna go and try and buy the CD off Amazon. I want to find that price again. Infectious Organisms. So there's the self-titled. They did one album before this, Infectious Organisms, by Infectious Organisms. Yep, not for sale, of course. Human Experience. Oh yeah, I'm a Canuck. I'm a dirty Canuck, so it's not going to pop up on .ca. Infectious Organisms. Human.
Yeah, I would love to have a copy of this because that would hopefully there's some kind of booklet in it that would have the lyrics, and I could get some of my questions answered. The cover for those who've never seen it is very paint. It is a bunch of cells, I guess, and then the band name and the album title in a white font, which looks like, again, they made it in paint. Don't judge the album by its cover.
Yeah. You know what? This is a longer album. It's about an hour long, but like I think it uses all the time really well. There's a couple longer cuts on here. Comfort in the Swell and To Give. One of which is just entirely like a jam piece, and the other one has an extended instrumental section, which I think both are great. And those, even like the extended cuts on this, turn out to be like the best songs on the album. Like, I don't know, let's just jump right to it. What is your favorite track on this if you had to pick?
Oh wow, already I'm gonna.
We can get back to it if you're not ready.
I could say if you want to do it, I don't mind. Yeah, but we'll do that and then maybe go through each song or something. I guess. I mean, my favorite on the album is To Give. I think that's like a phenomenal song, and that's a song I've had on repeat for years. Like it's one of those songs that's kind of a mainstay in any playlist that I make.
Yeah.
It's the longest song on the album, but I just love the vibe of it. And one feature that I like about that song, and also this whole album, is the real instruments, which you don't often get in rap, and they add a lot to this album. It feels way more organic, in keeping with the band name, I guess, and the organism idea. And the players are amazing on this album. Whatever their names are, I just said them and I forgot already. The Blair brothers, and a couple other guys.
I think Will Sunderland.
Amazing musicianship. So And one other comment, and then I'll hear your favorite track. The lyrics are really literate. This is a very cerebral album.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean that the lyrics here are not your typical fodder about kind of vapidity that girls in cars and that sort of stuff that bands like Social Strike talk about. This is an album that they're talking about Genesis. They have a song called 1984, which has a
George
whole
Orwell
verse about Orwell, and it sounds like they've actually read it, unlike most people who just say Orwellian and don't know what it means. And there's I have some of them written down. Well, when we go to the actual songs, I'll get into the actual lines, but there's like an impressive lexicon on this album too, and so they're not phoning it in with the lyrics. They actually seem to put a lot of thought into what they're saying, which I appreciate. Anyway, what's your favorite song?
My favorite song, To Give is up there for me. I might have a tie, so I'm just gonna go with the other one, so we don't have the same favorite track. I'm gonna pick Beautiful World, actually.
That's a great pick.
Yeah. That all the songs on here are great. That one, like you, with To Give, with Beautiful World, I probably listen to that the most. Very sort of like verbose, but not overly verses, and like I love that hook or chorus, whatever you want to call it. Beautiful world when you cross the line, ha ha ha. Like I don't know, that's a bop, and it's very catchy.
Yeah.
And like again, these songs all, like, a lot of them have extended run times. This one's almost 6 minutes, but it just flies right by. And sort of just paints like a picture of sort of terrible things that are happening in their community, right? And that's one thing that's like reflective of the whole album, but I think this track especially is sort of the imagery and like the storytelling that they're able to do, along with like their very strong grasp of the English language. I don't know, it's sort of this album drops me into a bunch of different places, like I don't know how to explain that better, but
no, I agree with you, but it maintains a unity, which is like what a really good album does. It has kind of a magnitude to it where each song takes you to a different place, and none of the songs sound the same, but also they all sound like they belong together. The album progresses as it goes along. I'm never bored. It is an hour. It's 59 minutes and 46 seconds, so it is, and like you said, basically an hour long, so not a short album. But all of this, like, there's not a weak track in the bunch, and that's really impressive for an album of this length. So actually, that's a good transition. So the first song, Autobiography. What do you think of this song?
Great song. I don't know. It gives you the vibe of what the album's going to be like right off the bat. Like the little build-up intro. Dun, 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 dun. You get the full band there, and they do a lot of trade-off vocals here, which I think is cool. Because I noticed this in the Genesis live video, one of their only performances, that they tend to play off each other a lot. So there's a bunch of that in Autobiography, some cool instrumental parts, and they have the one thing I like about this song is the really cool outro.
Yeah.
Where sort of the bassy, like the drum and bass part to end the song. It's a great intro track, and like if we get to reordering the album later, I don't see myself not putting it as the first song. It might be. I might regret saying this. This might be the most rock bass song on the album. It's one of the more lively ones.
Yeah, it's energetic. There's a big focus on the instruments, like with that section you mentioned in the outro. I really like it as an opening track too. It's I think it's very well written. It flows. It's 4 minutes. And the production is so good on this album too, which we should probably, I guess, talk a little bit about. The drums sound great. They're organic.
They're snappy.
Yeah, they're snappy. Nothing is like triggered or overblown. It's kind of an earnest mix, yet there's a real pizzazz to a lot of the like it pops,
Yeah.
which fits the songs really well. So this song shows that off. I would say to the kind of biggest degree you're going to get across the album. There's a real focus on the drums and the bass and the guitar parts, and
Oh, there's
yeah,
that
outro
cool
is awesome.
little syncopated part in the middle of the song. Like goodbye, my lady. Like I can't even explain it that well, but that's like one of my favorite parts of the album. If we're just talking like instrumental passages.
Yeah. It's technical. There's
Yeah.
like stuff happening. It's not like a 4/4 all the time or whatever. Like there's actual. It's tough to play some of this stuff, and they're rapping over it really well. So
Yeah.
great.
So, unless you have anything else to say about the song, we got Hall Street next. I keep wanting to call it Hall Street Cinema because that's what they call it on the song.
It's the Hall Street Cinema.
Yeah. It's a cool song. I don't really know what to say about it.
This sounds to me like the single. Like this song sounds to me like if it might have been, for all I know. It's 3.5 minutes. I think it's the most straightforward song on the album, actually, which isn't a bad thing. I like it as the second track. It's got some more. I didn't write down any specific lines from this one. The lyrics are good across it. Hall Street is a historic district in St. Joseph, Missouri.
I did not know that.
I don't know if that's what they're referencing here or not. Maybe not. But yeah. It feels like the kind of like this song to me speaks to how well the album is structured because it fits in as the second song. It kind of solidifies what we heard on the first track of okay, here this sounds like the same record, but now we're going in maybe a less technical, kind of more streamlined direction, but we're keeping the solid rapping and good lyrics. Yeah, I mean this just furthers the narrative to me.
Yeah. Well, one thing about this song, there's a lot of tracks on this, and like maybe the album as a whole, it almost like a lot of the rapping parts that comes off more as like poetry or like street poetry as opposed to I don't know, like traditional rapping. I don't know, and like I get the vibe like a bunch of these songs are sort of like about love or love lost or about like some woman who's lost their way. I get that a bit in like the first half of this album, I'd say.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I don't think there's one grand theme necessary.
No.
Kind of like with Front Side, it's obviously every song is about one thing. I think this is much more sprawling.
Yeah.
But I think it's the arrangements that tie everything together. So.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So, song 3, we have your favorite, one of my favorites, To Give.
Oh,
This is
so
the
good.
longest track on the album, 8 minutes and 19 seconds. This is a great song. This is the one that, like, when I was thinking there's a lot of themes of love in the album, like this is the biggest one that points to that. I don't know, sort of just rapping sort of about a love, whether it be requited or unrequited, and then there's a great instrumental section to close off the song, and it goes back to the hook at the end, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah. Yep. But no, I love the way this song flows. I love the structure. The kind of instrumental hook is super catchy. That guitar or synth or whatever it is at the beginning of the track, it sounds like an infectious organism.
Oh, that little spacey. I don't know how to explain it or articulate it very well.
Yeah, it's like a watery sort of like I don't know. I don't really know either, but it's this kind of shimmering tone, and that like you know those bands like that have band title tracks like Pennywise or something. Like this song almost
it could be called Infectious Organisms.
Could be called Infectious Organisms to me. Yeah, I just think this is like the entire album in one song. It's the longest song. It has every element you could want. It flows amazingly. That instrumental part you mentioned is amazing. It's almost like where are they drawing inspiration from? I'm trying to think of other bands
I,
that the instrumentals sound like here. It's very jazzy.
they
There's
like the
obviously, like,
Roots. I could go there, but like this is a lot different than the Roots still.
yeah, it's different. There's like a shoegazy element or something to it. It's very ambient.
Yeah, a lot of
Like
jazz
I'm trying to
guitar.
Yeah, it's chill, yet there's an energy. I'm trying to think of like a band that I can even equate the instrumentals to, and it's actually tough because, um, gosh, I mean, as a unit, they kind of remind me of Diggable Planets a little bit,
Oh,
which
okay,
is
yeah.
right, like another jazz rap
What's that
kind
one
of
called?
staple.
Blowout Comb or something? Something Comb.
Yeah, Blowout Comb, which is
Yeah,
an amazing album
it
too.
is.
But yeah, I guess that's the closest I would equate this to. But this is more like kind of rock based, especially with the drumming. There's a real like beat to the most of these songs.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love To Give. If you only listen to one song on this album, I would say make it this one.
Yeah.
It's just worth hearing.
They were really good lyricists too. I don't know. And they
Yeah.
work really well in tandem. I don't know. The verses always sort of relate to each other, and I wish like because it's so dense. I'm having trouble just like pulling lines out of here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
something
I have
something
some-
ambidextrous design, and it's I don't know. It's very it's like a very nice love poem. This song. I know that sounds corny, but it's not corny. Like
Yeah. I'm trying to. I'm taking a quick listen here too as we record. Yeah, give me your heart and all of your soul. If you said I never hurt you again.
hurt you again. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is kind of a love song, but hey, nothing wrong with that. It sounds
Not at
really
all.
good. So I have some lines for some of the other songs too as we go along.
Yeah.
Anyway, To Give is awesome.
All right. So next up, we got a track called Genesis. I would consider this one of the like emotional climaxes of this album, if I had to pick something. And it's weird because it's only track 4. But I don't know. It's sort of it comes after To Give like perfectly.
Yeah.
And there's that whole instrumental build up that comes at the start that I think gives the first verse like a way more impact. Yeah, like after To Give and Beautiful World, I mean, this is probably my third favorite track. Yeah, it's great. And I think this one might have the best verses on the album. I don't know. What do you think of Genesis?
Did you say the best lyrics?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote out a few of the lines from this one because they are good. I mean, the hand that's controlling you, not yours. Load your software onto my mainframe. You know, I wonder, like, Genesis is biblical, obviously.
Yeah.
Given the kind of literacy these guys show, I do wonder if this is an explicitly biblical track. Yet, some of the other lines, there's a line in this that's
They are talking about God on this a lot. There's a lot of lines about
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
Do
like
you believe in God? God believes in you. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's obviously some connection here to God. I don't quite know what it is. I mean, other than obviously the title, I can't analyze all that. I have some of the lines written down. There's a line in here, I don't know what it means. It's like a Romulan triangle split, and I have no idea what they're talking about. I mean, it's a really cool image, and I looked up Romulan triangle. The only thing I got was a Star Trek wiki, which I don't think is what they mean. So
That's not a Star Trek thing at all, is it?
well, there's like the Romulans are a race in Star Trek, but there's no
okay.
Romulan triangle specifically like in
Yeah.
Star Trek that I know of. So I don't know what they mean, unless they're like Romulus and Remus or something. But that also doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I would be if we ever get an interview with them, I would ask them about that line because I don't know. It also comes after saying time is the fifth dimension, being blind is a gift, right?
Yeah.
So I can't figure out what they're trying to say there. but it's an intriguing kind of image anyway. And yeah, I think that there's definitely some biblical imagery going on here with the line you mentioned, and I think they're referencing Cain and Abel at one point. Do you love me? Would you kill for me? That sort of thing, or at least God killing his, commanding the death of his subjects, right? So anyway, there's definitely some commentary going on, and it's a great track.
Yeah, do you love me? Would you kill for me? And if you killed for me, would you still love me? Yeah. That's I remember all these lyrics. It just like I wish I had the sheet because I have to rack my brain a bit to pull them out. I tried finding them. They do not exist. yeah. That's you know what? I'm shocked. It is on Amazon.com for $16. That's not bad, actually.
There you go.
Yeah,
you could order that.
Yeah, I can get it from the company's open quotation CD baby close quotations.
But, CD baby. What a great website. You know who has a good CD baby presence?
Who's that?
Oh, there's this band. They're called like, you know, Bed and Breakfast. Like it has the same initials as that band, and they have a really good CD baby page.
Oh, that's sexy.
No one is going to understand that, and that's perfectly okay.
Yeah, it's like it's our Romulus triangle.
Yeah,
Romulan triangle. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
But next up, we have the song "City Limits." This is a good song too. It's one that gets lost in the shuffle a bit for me because it's in between like Genesis and Comfort in the Swell, but it's good. I like the guitar parts in this a lot. This is one where I'm super into the instrumentals, a la Autobiography and Comfort in the Swell. It's got that neat, it's like a tapping guitar part or something. And I like that swelling keyboard. It's like an E piano that's going on under it. And then again, super memorable hook. For 40 days and 40 nights, she had control of me. Pure poetry. Listen slowly. Yeah. That part's sick, and the verses are great. I don't know. That's just like my broad strokes of this song. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually think this is underrated. This song.
Yeah.
I mean, there's kind of obviously more biblical imagery going on here. 40 days and 40 nights. You know, I don't have any of the lyrics for it. So
I need to read the Bible. Like, it's because these references sometimes are just lost on me. I'll admit that. I'm not gonna like pretend to know.
Oh God, I mean, I've never actually read the whole Bible. That's a really tough undertaking, honestly.
Yeah. Because of your studies, you're like aware of a lot of the books or like the verses in it, I guess.
I guess, yeah. I know some of the Bible, but like it's. And yeah, I mean, and so they're playing on it kind of across this album, and that does make me wonder: are they a Christian band? Like, are they at least maybe the rappers? On Rate Your Music, I think if I go to their self-titled, one of the main genres is Christian hip hop. So
yeah, I'd imagine they are, like, at least the MCs, because like both albums, you could file them as like, or you could call them conscious hip hop albums. So they'll talk a lot about their human experiences. Ha ha ha. No, but so you're going to get a lot of dense lyrics that have meaning, especially to them. So if they are in fact Christians, like a lot of that's going to leak onto their albums, right?
Yeah. I get it. I don't care one way or the other. I just think it's interesting to see how it's informing their lyrics. And even on their self-titled, the record which came before this, the first song is 23rd Psalm. Yeah. Again, that's a Bible reference. There's so it seems to be a theme throughout their like very short discography, too short discography. And so I don't know. That would be something else to ask them if we ever get that opportunity. Is, you know, are you guys Christian?
There's I don't know. There's a lot of there's a distinction. It's hard for me to explain, but there's like bands and artists that are like fully Christian artists. So like you got like metalcore band For Today, and rap. You have like Lecrae, like they are Christian and like they're there to preach, right?
Yeah.
But then,
placate the masses.
yeah, I'd put them in there. And like they're sort of like they're worship bands in a way. And then I don't know, you sort of have bands that like to talk about God or touch on it, but they aren't like explicitly, like it's not, the music isn't about like worship or practicing your faith or anything. It just might be talking on the subject or questioning it or something. And I think like that August Burns Red kind of falls in there. Who else? I think Dustin Kensrue. I can't say his name. From Thrice. He's kind of like that.
Thrice for sure.
Yeah, and this could be Infectious Organisms as well. I'm not sure though, honestly. And Frontside even too.
I mean, yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I guess it's the distinction of, is that kind of religiosity woven into the fabric of the band or into certain songs? I mean, it doesn't seem to me that every song on here is kind of religious in nature, so I would tend to agree with you that it's certain songs, but there's enough of it to make me ask that question, I guess. Again, not that it's a real consequence or anything, but it's just kind of an interesting like kind of thread that runs throughout their whole discography, actually. So
it makes you wonder where they stand, right?
Oh, sorry.
It makes you wonder sort of where they stand, like with religion, right?
Yeah. Anyway, I think the City Limits is great. I actually think I think it's underrated, partly because it is kind of a mid-album song coming after kind of a bunch of showstoppers.
Yeah.
Great song again. And Meddling Cartel is next. This is the shortest one. I have probably the least amount of thoughts on this one. I think it's good. Perhaps the weakest one on the album, from what I remember. I like it a lot. And when I say it's the weakest, I mean I still really like it.
Yeah. There has to be a weakest.
I don't know. What do you think about Meddling Cartel?
Great song. Yeah, like you said, shortest on the record. It's just sort of, it's a song that isn't biblical from what I know, unless there's a secret reference in there.
Not that I know of.
Yeah, but it's like just about the cartel drug trade, and I think it's sort of the opposite.
Definitely not biblical.
Technically not biblical. Where was I though? This song seems to be more like focused on the MCs than the instrumentals. They put in like this sort of bouncy accompaniment to the whole song that's really fun to listen to, and from the live video I saw, and just because of the way the song goes, I feel like this is really fun to listen to and play live. And it has that hook, and it has some of the more like technical fast rap or whatever you want to call it on it. For that reason, I'm not too familiar with a lot of the lyrics, but like it sounds good to me. It's another one that kind of got lost in the shuffle because like we're coming up on the second half of the album, which, well, as you said, is like filled with showstoppers. No, but it's fun, and at just 3 minutes, it doesn't really overstay its welcome or anything. And I like that little kind of twangy guitar part in it. It's fun.
Yeah. I do wonder if this title is screwed up on like music websites, if it should be Meddling Cartel, which is the
actual name.
Bar.
It could be a pun though, right?
It could be. I don't know. It doesn't, like, from my kind of my listens through, I haven't noticed that pun working its way into the rest of the lyrics,
because they're saying Medellin Cartel, right? Like,
yeah, like it seems pretty straight laced to me. So I just wonder if that's kind of a misprint or something, because there's also an accent on the I that would be tough to write online, and maybe people assume they just forgot the G. So maybe the title should be like Medellin Cartel, like the actual name. So
yeah,
that would be yet another question to ask them. But this is Diamonds in the Rough, so they are in the rough for a reason.
Yep, we make stuff up and it becomes fact because there's no other information on it online.
Yeah. Oh, well, on that point, I forgot to mention something in the intro. The drummer actually killed a man in 1990.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you believe
Wait,
that?
like, Oh, yeah, I do. I can believe it.
No, he actually did. There was it was a big story.
We'll put the link in the description for the episode.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can read all
was,
about it
was-
yourself.
yeah, the drummer in Infectious Organisms killed a man in 1990.
Yeah, it's. I was disgusted when I found out, and I really didn't want to do the episode. But Alex actually forced me to do it, so I'm here under duress. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Anyway, now that we've gotten the murderous inclinations of the band addressed, "Comfort in the Swell." Like, this is the first song I heard off this album because you played it when we were recording before Math at I forget. I think when we were driving with Matt Lou.
Some ungodly hour.
Song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 3 a.m, and Matt was doing donuts in the middle of wherever we were, Mississauga or whatever. And yeah, you played this track. So it's an instrumental, right? It's 7 minutes, yet it's sick.
It's a great song, yeah.
Yeah, it's really it's smooth. It is a really smooth instrumental. Great musicianship. It doesn't feel out of place at all, which you might think it would. Kind of coming a little bit out of nowhere, yet I think they kind of preview it with a song like Autobiography.
Yeah.
And some of the instrumental part in To Give, they kind of hint that something like this might be coming, and I'm glad they had
I'm glad they included
to
this,
put
yeah.
a full instrumental on there. So
because they could have easily not have done that. This would still be a great album without it, but I don't know. This it's one of the best tracks here. It definitely serves the album well.
Yeah. No, it does. And yeah, it increases. I've already used this word once, but it increases it increases the magnitude of the album when you have a long instrumental like this. Not even. I mean, it's kind of in the middle. I mean, it's track 7 and there's 11 songs, so it's around the midpoint of the album. I wonder maybe if they had put a track back, if this had come after City Limits. I think that might have been cooler.
I'd agree
then you
with
would
that.
have had an evenly divided record with this as the intermezzo or something.
And then
that-
Meddling Cartel or Medellin Cartel, whatever you want to call it, it sort of comes in at a high octane pace right after it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that would have been what I would have done here, to swap those two songs. Minor complaint, but yeah. The more I look at it, the more that makes sense to me. So I'm curious why they didn't do that. If there's some reason that they placed it as song 7, it just seems counterintuitive.
Yeah. Well, I agree. It could be meant to chop up the album. I was gonna say this song and To Give, they probably win the award of 6-7 minute plus songs that don't feel like that to me. They feel 3 and 4 minutes, because they're so good, they just go right by, And Comfort in the Swell has there's a lot of different movements in that song, just a lot of different sections, but it just flows together so seamlessly. There's sort of a part where they take some solos and then I don't know, multiple jam parts, and then that ending that's pretty incredible. It's hard for me to explain it, but with sort of those swelling keys at the end, and it's the descending melody. Super cool. There's too much going on for me to try and mouth any of it, but it's an incredible song. One of the best instrumentals. It kind of reminds me of what's that Bucket album? Population Override.
Yeah,
but this came before that, I think.
Yes, I think I think Population Override was 2004, so yeah, you're right, 2 years before. Well, yeah, I mean, it's like a jazz fusion track.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's really what it sounds like, with some electronics going on. But it's really, I'm trying to think of the right word to describe this. I don't want to say smooth again. It's relaxed. They're really just leaning into the groove throughout this song. and it's kind of, there's no stress. Like the title's really good, Comfort in the Swell. Like the rest of this album, there's a sense of urgency to a lot of it. It's with the lyrics, they're covering very serious themes, or right there. There's sort of, there's more intensity to it. This song is like you're kind of falling. It's like you're falling asleep or something, but not in a bad way. But like you're putting a warm blanket on or something. Like it is nice. Hence why I still say, I keep harping on this point. It's just crazy to me they put it here, but
Yeah.
Anyway, I bet why they did that is they didn't want it too close to Give, which also has the long instrumental section, and they wanted that as the third song. So I bet that's why they did that, so they would have 3 songs between. But anyway, yeah, great track, Comfort in the Swell. One of my top. Wow, actually, is it? I'm looking at the track listing. It's in my top 5.
Yeah, I'd go with that. I'd probably, I'd give it number 4. I think my top 3 would be Beautiful World, To Give, Genesis, and then Comfort in the Swell. I think I'd go with that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list here. My top 5, I'll just say it now, and
Sure.
then we can go to the next track. My top 5 tracks: To Give, Beautiful World, 30 Seconds on Earth.
Oh, okay.
I guess Comfort in the Swell would be in there. And then, my 5th one, I might say 1984.
Oh, that is a good segue.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So, 1984. This is a good song. This is a great song. I know it's about, or at least a bunch of the lyrics are about the George Orwell novel of the same name. That is a novel I need to read. It's known as a great book, and it's one of my girlfriends. It's her favorite book of all time.
Really?
And I'm just such a bad boyfriend. I have not bothered to read it.
I didn't read it in high school, actually. Like, I read it in grade 10, I think.
Oh, no way. Trying to think what I read. Grade 10. I think I read Mockingbird then.
Oh, right.
What else? Dorian Gray, Mockingbird, The Kite Runner. But yeah, never any 1984.
Huh. Yeah, it's great. So
yeah, this is a good song. It has some sampling in it, which you don't get much of that on the rest of the album. It seems like the start they sampled some other piece of music with the horns. And then they have, I want to say it's like a Biggie verse that they chopped in there as the hook. Like, rap till my lungs collapse, like 84, I never die. Is it Biggie, though? I'm not 100%, so I'm not going to say it is. It sounds like him, though.
I don't know.
Yeah, so that was neat, which that stuff sort of sets the track apart from me as different than the others. And, I don't know, it's like the instrumentals, because I don't really know about the book, so I'm just going to comment on everything else but the lyrics. The instrumental kind of reminds me, like, with those twinkly little keyboards and the guitar, and there's some humming in it. It sort of reminds me of, like, looking up at the night sky. It has a very, like, sort of evening, midnight-esque tone.
Yeah,
That's like an esoteric way to describe the song. But yeah, what did you think of this song? It's one of your favorites.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's tough. I mean, it's really tough to pick a top 5. I hesitated on this one. I mean, I this would definitely be one of my, like, top half of the record. I mean, so I really like those night sounds that we have. I'm kind of a sucker for that stuff. If there is, like, soundscaping and it involves, like, nighttime ambience.
Yeah.
Like, I find that really relaxing. So I'm, like, automatically disposed to enjoy a song that has that element to it. It's an interesting vibe to have that kind of nighttime aesthetic along with these very kind of like apocalyptic or authoritarian tinged lyrics, because we're talking about 1984. So
yeah, it's like about a dystopia.
Well, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
yeah. It's about government oversight and the party and there's a whole like a whole verse. I mean, that really is just about like it's straight up talking about the plot of the book. I think it's the last one in the song with the female rapper like answer the question from Julia's perspective, right? Julia, a character in the book.
Oh,
So
okay.
like they're obviously like invoking that novel in some way. There's other great lines in this though, right? Like I wrote down a few of them here. Modern day fascists who breastfed democracy to the masses in jaws of impenetrable surroundings like the Apache helicopter, motionless silence walked into the quad of a nation to die in the spaces of our departure.
All right.
That's great. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah, super good imagery.
Yeah, and so the song is kind of full of protected by the huge gates of federalists who diffuse radioactive waste among the populace of innocent bystanders.
Wordy.
Like that's such a an evocative image, right? So yeah, I mean, so this is obviously a political track, maybe more so than any of the others so far. But I just, at the end of the day, I think it's really well executed. I love the vibe, and I like I like how kind of literate these guys are. Like they're not messing around with their lyrics. It doesn't feel vapid to me. They're not like trying to chase clout or anything. It's very cinematic in a way. I also like that. And yeah, I think it's a great track.
Yeah, it really I don't know, all the like they spare no expense with the lyrics, and it's I don't know, they decide a song's about something and they sort of capture that almost perfectly on every track. And this one, a great example of that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much to say about the song past that, just because I'm not familiar with the novel. The female MC, the girl, she's from the first album actually, so it was nice to hear her back.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was sort of like a surprise feature from an old member, which I thought was cool.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. But past that, I don't I don't have much to contribute about the lyrics about this one.
Oh no, it's all right.
But after this, we have, if I did a top 5, because I was looking at the track list here, I'd go Beautiful World, then To Give, then Genesis, then Comfort in the Swell, and I'd actually go 1 as number 5.
Ah, okay.
Because, I don't know, this song, it seems to stick out the most from the whole album. I think maybe due to the use of classical guitars with those harmonies that are super nice, and they're sort of jamming the entire time. They have a different rapper feature in halfway through, and it just sort of seems like it's like their bragging party song, which they don't really explore that at all on the entire album. So it's nice that they included that. Without the entire album being vapid. It's like, this is the most vapid song, but it's almost nice as a change of pace, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's just sort of, it's not even like bragging about guns and stuff. It's just sort of, it's bragging about how great they are as MCs, which I can respect that. Yeah, and I don't know. It's one of my favorite instrumentals, like as the accompaniment on the album. I don't know. What did you think of 1?
I think it's fun. I think it's a fun song. To me, it's misplaced in the on the album a little bit. I mean, at least in this spot. I like
Sure.
like the album has such a kind of evocative vibe the whole way through, and then this one kind of throws it off a little bit to me. I think it's actually a really fun song. If I was structuring this album, this would have been the last song. I think that's the only place that it fits, actually, is if you put it right at the end of the record. And I mean, you'd want to move some of the other songs around as well to kind of make that work better. But I think it as a track, it makes the most sense to go there, because coming like between 1984 and Beautiful World, I don't know. I mean, I get the fact that it's kind of a palate cleanser or something, but it's also long. It's like over 5 minutes, so it doesn't like it's very long to have that kind of function in the album. So I just would have moved it around. I just wouldn't have put it here. I think it's a fun song, and I have no problem with it at all. But yeah, I think putting it at the end would have been good. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Fair enough. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, for me, I think 30 Seconds on Earth is like the perfect closer to this album. Like, I wouldn't
yeah.
want to change that almost. I don't know. Here's a thought. I don't know, what if it was like the second song after, like, you just put it there after Autobiography? Because it's sort of like the tone of the album hasn't been set yet, so you could sort of have a fun second song, and then, like, I don't know, I feel like Hall Street is single worthy just due to the length, and it has like a hook, a chorus, right? And yeah, it could be the third song cliche single thing, and then to give due to it being a longer cut can come after that. That's just my first thought. It is a weird placement for it, because it's like it's juxtaposed and sandwiched by 1984 and Beautiful World, like both pretty serious songs.
That's what I mean. I just feel like it doesn't fit there. Like, but putting it towards the beginning would be good. Even if you want to put it like the fourth or something, like I think it just needs to go somewhere else. I just don't love it here. But like, I don't know. This is something where I'd have to spend like 10 minutes reordering everything, and that's really boring to listen to, so I won't do that.
Well, you know what? What we could do is, if you send me like your order or whatever, I can just put it in the video, and then people can see it instead of us like describing it. So at this timestamp, you'll see an image.
I'll send that to you after this.
Because that'll work better, because that I don't it's not your fault at all, or my fault or whatever, but I don't think people understood like our front side like album orders or whatever.
I doubt it. That was very confusing. we got caught up in the like, put this song here. So anyways, that's one. I mean, Beautiful World, we kind of have discussed. I mean, we both love this song. Why do you like this song so much?
I don't know. It has my favorite hook on the album. The instrumentals are great. It's nearly a 6-minute song. Feels like a 3-minute song. These songs just fly by for me. I don't know. It's sort of, there's a lot of very evocative imagery. Sort of just talking about things that happen in the world that are super awful and disgusting. I don't know. This is a song that could almost close the album, in my opinion. But I still like 30 Seconds on Earth as more of a closer. But, I don't know. This song, when I was doing my first few run-throughs, it just sort of blew me away the most. It sort of brought the whole band up to another gear. What did you think of this song?
I think it's a great track. The instrumental, like you said, is really good. I mean, Beautiful World. Yeah, I mean, to me, this song, I think they're just talking about their town or their upbringing, or maybe the U.S. at large. Right? It's obviously an ironic title because they're describing like horrific acts of depravity throughout the track. Right, and there's maybe guess simply the man in me, or maybe a lack of male figures in my family. So they're obviously talking about like conditions or like injustices in society, and so I mean, so I think on that level, it's maybe one of the most straightforward lyrical tracks here. Which is fine, actually. I think that really suits the song well. It fits the vibe of the record perfectly. And yeah, I think that the instrumental is one of the best here. I love those verses with the like, that's really great.
That bridge too.
The bridge.
When you cross the line, and it has like that octave guitar, with those shots going on over it. Super jazzy, super like, I don't know, almost like prog rock-esque. It's I don't know, it's neat.
Well, and they saved one of their best songs for the second last song on the album. I mean, that, like, I like when albums do that, because they're not just blowing all their best stuff in the first half. Like, there's a reason to keep listening. So yeah, I am a big fan of this one. It does not feel like it's 6 minutes, by the way. Like you said, it definitely. I'm actually shocked that it is that long. Um,
Oh, this album feels
yeah,
like it's maybe like 40 minutes to me.
yeah, and it's an hour. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. Um, yeah, 30 Seconds on Earth is one of my favorite songs on here. Um, it's like super sad.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like definitely the bleakest song on here. Um, it's about a guy's kid dying, and right, I mean, I can't tell if it's like his new. I don't think it's a newborn kid because there's the line about like your favorite song is "What's Going On," and uh, so I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't have the lyrics, so I can't tell exactly what's going on, but it's definitely about that. A tree should never outlive the life of its own seed, I think comes up at one point.
Oh, right, right.
Uh, anyway, I mean, it's a really I love this song because it is dark. It does end the album well. Don't get me wrong. I like it as the closer. It's a depressing closer. It's
Yeah.
really, you're ending the album on a real kind of low note here. No, but it's an amazing song. I mean, again, it's 6.5 minutes. Does not feel that long. Instrumental is amazing. Um, and I really don't know what else to say about it. It's a great track.
Yeah. The instrumental sort of has this like hospital bed feel to me. Like, I don't know, with the keyboards, don't, like I don't know how to explain it. It's like kind of beepy.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. They do kind of sound like ambulance, or like alarms going off or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like that sort of goes to a bigger point about like why I think this album works so well, because like I guess like the Blair brothers especially, they have a lot of experience doing soundtracks, like based on our research we did like an hour ago. Um, but like but seriously, they sort of they capture the moods and the vibes that like the MCs want to get across, like in the music, like on every song, and this one especially. Yeah, like I don't know where else this song would go, due to the fact that it's so depressing. I think it's a great closer, and like even instrumentally, it's sort of it's the denouement that comes after like the penultimate track, right? Is that how it works?
The
It's sort of like the
denouement, 'cause
closing, like
well, yeah, yeah. I mean, the like penultimate means like second last, and then denouement would be like after the climax. So
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And I'd call Beautiful World like a climax on the album. I think there's multiple, but that's one of them.
yeah, yeah.
And it's sort of like the come down track. Or you watch a season of TV, usually the second last episode of the season, if it's like some sort of action or drama, that's usually where everything happens. And then it's sort of the wrap up song, the wrap up episode, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's long song, doesn't feel like it, like the rest of the album. It probably lands like just outside my top 5, but I still really like it. There's a hook in there, I think, too, but it's like super rapid, and it's just I wish I had the lyrics. That's like I'm gonna be
Yeah,
buying this CD.
it's actually tough to it's tough to do this without the lyrics because it is such a lyrically heavy album. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I would agree with everything you just said. It is like a kind of like the denouement of the album, albeit a very like upsetting one.
Yeah,
But coming off A Beautiful World, it makes sense, right? And that's partly why also one feels so like jarring. If we, like, if you look back over the track listing, it's like which song does not fit in this on this album?
in the last 4, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even across the whole album, like,
Oh, really?
if you took out one, like, this album, like, every song perfectly fits on it to me. Again, and I like one. I like that song. I don't want to come off like I hate that song. I actually think it's really fun, but yeah, it's a tough one to place in the context of this album.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'd say like even not like lyrically, but just like instrumentally, Meddling Cartel sort of has that like fun boppy feel.
Yeah.
That's in there. And yeah, the only one, I agree with you that it's not placed well. I would just place it right after Autobiography.
Yeah.
And if they were gonna do like a different closer, the only one I could think of is like just swapping Beautiful World and 30 Seconds on Earth.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of like the second last song is like the ballad, right? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like if the closer isn't one, I like it being 30 Seconds on Earth. I think that is, I think it should be one or the other. And like, if you make one the closer, you have to reorder a bunch of other stuff to make that work. So, like, maybe I'll try doing that, and I'll see what I can come up with. But
that'd be kinda,
anyway,
like, imagine if like it was 30 Seconds on Earth, and then one was right after that.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
The
like,
last two songs, yeah.
It's like the most inappropriate thing ever. Like.
I'm the best MC.
Yeah, like right
after their kids died, yeah.
You can't do that, obviously. So you figure it out. And so again, and that like there's such a wild amount of like kind of emotional variance on this album. That's another reason it's tough to order it like optimally, right? I mean, what do you do with when you have a song about I'm the best MC, and then you have another song about like, oh, my kid died? Like, how do you put both of those on one album without...
Maybe a bit further apart. That's the only thing I can think of. But
yeah, like that's what I mean. Like, so now you, and where does everything else fit? So it becomes harder and harder to like to most effectively structure your album the more emotions you're cycling through, and yeah, but I like that about this album, that it does span such a big gamut, and it executes a sound really well, and the lyrics are great, and it's incredibly underrated. And like as I like, how many ratings does this have? 30 ratings right now on Rate Your Music, which is a lot more than it had when I first listened to this back in 2013.
When I was like using Sputnik a lot, I'd always like throw it in lists and stuff, or like any like rec list. It'd be like, oh, Infectious Organisms, like. So it was me. I made them more popular. No, but
probably partly.
I think it's sort of it slowly achieved some sort of cult status, even though cult status probably doesn't mean 30 ratings, but it's been a while. Some people have picked up on it, right?
There's 6 votes on Sputnik, and 3 of them are from you, and then my old account and my new account. So there's really like 4 people that have heard this on Sputnik.
Oh, fair enough. Well, still, like, great album. There was some there's some really bad review of it on Amazon. I want to find it.
Really? Like bad as in they hated it?
Like a 2 out of 5 stars.
What?
It was in 2006, so it was like it was like a bit after. Can I read it to you?
I'm looking this up. Amazon Infectious Organisms.
Oh, can I just read you the review just because I want to read it?
Yeah.
All right. So the user is Voltaire. Title: I have 2 stars. I have no idea why you all like this crap. in the comments. No, that was just like the heading.
Okay.
I've read reviews stating that this is some lyrical genius and touching. I personally think it's juvenile and shallow. I think the music additions in the background is unique and doesn't have the drum machine feel to it. That's where the pleasure ends. The lyrics don't seem to go together in the songs, they just rhyme. I wouldn't listen to this driving down the road or sitting with my sweetie. I expect more from vocalists, I guess, ...
What? I feel like he may have listened to the wrong album. They just rhyme? Like, they don't even rhyme most of the time. What's he talking about?
I don't know about you, but like I rate all albums based on whether I would listen to it driving down the road with my sweetie. But
well, you got to read 1984 then, because that'll make the drives even more pleasant.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh my man. Yeah, I mean, this is a really good album. Like, people should listen to this. It's hideously underappreciated. And yeah, since you showed it to me, like, so it would have been 2013. You showed this album to me. I've listened to it pretty steadily, like on and off since then. Like I said, "To Give" is always in my playlist, and then re-listening to it for this, I rediscovered a whole bunch of the other songs that are even better than I actually remembered. Like this is a 4.5 record for me, which is really good. Like that's a super high rating.
Yeah.
I love it.
Gets my perfect 10. But yeah, it's amazing. And the good thing about this record is that you can pretty much put it on at any time. I feel like it fits all sort of settings. Close listening, passive listening, driving, putting it on when you have company, like whenever, really.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put it on if my, grandma was over or something, given some of the, like, I'm not going to play, like, hey, listen to Beautiful World, like, But, yeah, I think for the most part, it's like, yeah, it's a nice vibe. It's not a noise album or anything. It's also not so placid that you're going to fall asleep. It's a really, like, it's a well-constructed and well-thought-out album. And, yeah, you can listen deeply if you want for those lyrical themes, or you can just appreciate the instrumentals and the musicality of the vocals themselves. And both will elicit audio treasures of mass proportion. I don't know what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a really good album.
Yeah, you just gotta listen to it and forget about what the drummer did, right? Like,
yeah, well, like we all have checkered pasts, so
it's fine.
I can't.
It doesn't affect my rating of the album.
Yeah, the guy he killed might have done something to deserve it. You never know.
Yeah. Beautiful World is about him.
What's the next album we're going to do in this series? That could be a good thing to preview here at the end.
Okay, well, Front Side was your pick, and then this was my pick. So, like, it's your pick. Like,
oh, yeah, right. Okay. Oh, yeah, we mentioned... Okay, I have a couple of ideas, actually. So, we'd mentioned doing Ninja Spy. I'm still down to do that.
Yeah, I'd do that one.
That's totally... Yeah, Pie Nature. We could also do Say Hello to Sunshine at some point. That's a hideously underrated album.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not... Like, I'd be down to review it. I feel like it's... a lot of people know it.
Yeah, that's my thing. I think people know it more. So I'll say Ninja Spy, and then maybe I'll think about something else. But yeah, let's do. So we'll do Pie Nature by Ninja Spy, which is a band from Vancouver who makes ska core.
Yeah, they're cool.
Which is they're a really cool band, and again, extremely underrated. And so we'll talk about that album on the next one, Diamonds in the Rough.
All right. So, thank you for listening, guys. Thanks for getting this far. Check us out on Spotify or YouTube. All right!